There is a particular kind of person who grows up being told they will be fine. Not fine in a vague, hopeful way. Fine in a specific, confirmed way. The kind of fine that comes from being praised in classrooms, recognized at gatherings, and quietly assured again and again that the world has a good place waiting for them. They absorb this certainty the way a child absorbs language, effortlessly, completely, without ever deciding to believe it. That belief becomes a foundation. Being smart means things work out. Being smart means a future is not something to be afraid of. And for a long time, this belief appears to be correct. Intelligence opens doors. It clears exams, navigates interviews, earns promotions, and earns the respect of serious people in serious rooms. It does everything it was ever supposed to do. The problem is not that intelligence fails. The problem is what intelligence was never designed to handle. The doors intelligence opens do not automatically lead to wealth. They lead to credentials. They lead to salaries. They lead to a life that looks successful from the outside and feels like a slowly tightening grip from the inside. A good job, a reasonable paycheck, a comfortable explanation for why everything is actually okay. And the smarter you are, the longer it takes to see through the comfort. Because smart people are exceptionally good at building stories that make staying exactly where they feel like a rational choice. Here is what that looks like in real numbers. You graduate with honors. The degree costs $67,000 spread across 4 years, and no one, not your parents, not the financial aid office, not the brochures, ever sits you down and runs the actual math. No one shows you what that debt will cost monthly against an entry-level salary. No one calculates the decade of compound stagnation that follows. You were 17. You were smart. You were going to be fine. At 24, the job pays $52,000 a year, and everyone agrees is a good job. After taxes, after the loan payment, after rent, after everything, you have $380 left each month. You are smart enough to understand that $380 does not build anything. You run the projections and see the numbers at 30 and at 35. And neither of those numbers is freedom. Neither of those numbers is the life you quietly imagined. You see all of this with perfect clarity. And then you do nothing about it. Not because you are lazy. Not because you do not care. But because there is a specific kind of paralysis that comes from understanding a problem completely while lacking the behavioral tools to solve it. You know the cage exists. You just cannot find the door. This is the first invisible truth. Intelligence makes the cage feel reasonable. It makes every bar seem structurally necessary, logically justified, practically unavoidable. At 27, the salary is $64,000. There are $8,400 in savings, $51,000 in remaining student loans, and a credit card balance that has been carefully managed for over a year. You have read every article about personal finance. You have bookmarked 17 of them. You can explain compound interest to someone at a dinner party with accuracy and clarity. And you have $8,400 in savings. This is the second invisible truth. Understanding a concept and living inside the system that concept describes are two completely different things. The gap between knowing and doing is not an intelligence gap. It is a behavioral gap. And intelligence does not close behavioral gaps. Only behavior does. Smart people are extraordinarily good at generating reasons to wait. The fund isn't quite ready. The market timing isn't ideal. The research isn't complete. The reasons are always reasonable. The reasons are always intelligent. And that is precisely the trap. A person of average intelligence who puts $200 a month into a broad index fund and never touches it will, over 20 years, build substantially more than a highly intelligent person who spent those same 20 years researching the optimal approach and never quite began. The market does not reward sophistication. It rewards participation. It rewards showing up with $200 and leaving it there. And smart people have an extraordinarily difficult time leaving things alone. At 29, something changes. Not dramatically. Gradually. Like eyes adjusting to a dark room. You stop researching money and start doing something about it. You open the investment account you have been intending to open for 2 years. You put in $1,000. You set an automatic transfer for $200 a month. You do not spend 3 weeks selecting the optimal fund. You pick a broad index fund in 11 minutes. And you start. The first month, the balance drops slightly. You do not touch it. This is harder than it sounds for a person whose instinct is to analyze every movement and construct a response. But you have finally understood something that has nothing to do with intelligence. The system does not care what you know. It does not care what you intend. It does not care what you could explain to someone over dinner. It responds only to what you do. This is a third invisible truth. In the early stages of building wealth, there is nothing to optimize. There's only the unglamorous, uninteresting work of adding small amounts consistently and letting time do what time does. Smart people hate this. Smart people need the problem to be interesting. Putting $200 into an index fund and not looking at it is not interesting. It is correct. It is simply not interesting. The people who build wealth quietly are not remarkable. They are not smarter than you. They are more comfortable with boring. They are more comfortable with the long, slow middle section of any process where nothing appears to be working and everything requires you to continue anyway. Learning to be comfortable with boring is not an intelligence lesson. It is a character lesson. And it takes longer to learn than it should because your intelligence will keep insisting the boring approach can be improved. It cannot be improved. It can only be done. At 32, the investment account holds $22,000. The credit card is paid off. The student loans have dropped to $34,000. 18 months ago, you started offering a skill you already had to people who needed it. You did not call it business. It generates $900 a month now. And rather than let that income reach your lifestyle, you automate it directly into the account. You have learned this. Lifestyle will always absorb whatever you allow it to touch. The solution is not willpower. The solution is structure. Remove the choice entirely. This is a fourth invisible truth. Intelligence makes you very good at appearing successful. It helps you signal the right things to the right people in the right rooms. And appearance has a cost, not a dramatic cost, but an accumulated one. The slightly nicer apartment, the slightly newer car, the slightly more expensive wardrobe. Each one individually defensible. Each one reasonable for a person of your income and education. The total cost accumulated across a decade is the account you did not build. Smart people are very good at justifying each individual expenditure. Smart people are very poor at seeing what a decade of individually justified expenditures actually adds up to. 0. At 36, the account holds $87,000. The side income has grown to $2,400 a month. 14 months ago, you made one decision. You would not upgrade your lifestyle until the account crossed $100,000. The decision felt arbitrary when you made it. It turned out to be the most financially powerful commitment you had ever made. Not because the number is magical, but because it ended the negotiation. Smart people negotiate with themselves constantly. A specific, immovable target removes the conversation entirely. The number is the number. The answer is no, until it isn't. Right now, somewhere, there is a highly educated person sitting at a desk they are very good at sitting at. They are capable of things that would impress you, building arguments, analyzing systems, holding rooms. Their account balance is $2,300. They have been intending to start investing for 2 years. They understand everything about it. They could walk you through it right now in clear and accurate detail. They will not start this month. There will be a reason. There is always a reason. The reasons are always intelligent. Intelligent enough to be convincing. Intelligent enough to feel true. Intelligent enough to justify one more month of understanding the thing instead of doing the thing. This is why intelligent people stay financially stuck. Not because they lack ability. Not because the information is hidden. Because intelligence without direction optimizes for understanding instead of action. Because the system that raised them rewarded knowing and punished not knowing. And so they learn deeply and durably that knowing is the work. It is not the work. The work is the $200 automatic transfer set up in 11 minutes without prior research. The work is the index fund left alone through the months it falls. The work is the side income automated away before the lifestyle can reach it. The work is the specific target that silences your own intelligence. The work is not interesting. It does not require a degree. It does not care about your grades. It only ever asks one question. Are you doing it? Now do you understand it? Now could you explain it? Now have you researched the optimal method? Are you doing it? And for too many intelligent people, for too many years, the answer is not yet. Not yet is where intelligent people live. Not yet is the most expensive place in the world. The rent is paid in years you cannot recover, in compounding that never happened, and an account that stayed at 2,300 while the understanding stayed perfect, and the reason stayed intelligent, and the work stayed undone. You were smart enough to understand all of this years before you acted on it. That is a final invisible truth. The gap was never between knowing and not knowing. The gap was always between